When I first started, I wish I knew that it's okay to not know everything. I think if somebody had told me that, I would have been less anxious and more comfortable and confident.
In terms of stuff I wish I had known before teaching at Cornell, I think really reaching out for help and letting people know that I need help or creating that same environment for my students early on, I think is very important. Because otherwise, I think that, as a TA, I could get lost in thinking that my instructor is too busy to help me or I'm just going to have to figure this on my own, or maybe my students have that same mindset. And I think just making it very clear early on that you can reach out and that it's perfectly fine and normal would have been very useful for my own experience.
What I wish somebody had told me when I began as a TA is that it's okay not to know things and it's okay to admit to your students that you don't know these things. So it can be very useful to follow up to these student questions with that's actually kind of a hole in the knowledge gap of the field right now. We don't know that answer. Let me go to Canvas and post some resources that you can follow up. And that's been really valuable to me.
And just to follow up again, it's a really, if you remember your time as a student, like if my TA didn't know an answer to something, I wouldn't get angry, right? I just actually, it would make me feel like, oh, this is actually a difficult problem. This is actually challenging. So not knowing the answer to something doesn't make you look bad. It just helps reassure the students that this is actually a difficult problem. I think that that says a lot, and to remember that is very important. But I didn't realize how much fun and rewarding it would be and how much I actually love working with students. And I think if you just take the time to get to know your students, and you actually end up learning quite a bit along the way. You're not just teaching someone else. I think I've learned a lot about just like how to interact with people, how to explain things differently, which goes into your research, right? Just learning how to communicate science or communicate whatever topic that you're specialized in is very difficult. And it's been a lot of fun. And if you look at it as a job, it's not going to be as much fun. I think that's the best advice that I have. Yeah.
I guess what I wish I had known when I started was that teaching can be a bit of a time sink. It's easy to get carried away with trying to perfect everything. If you're lecturing, trying to make sure your PowerPoint looks phenomenal, that you are prepared for every question and know what everyone might ask. And even if you're doing a lab, just making sure you feel 100% prepared. But it's important to remember to step back and give yourself some time, get some sleep, and realize that you're never going to have anything perfect. And that the more you just kind of accept that and step back and realize you can always go back and say, well, I'll let you know that tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that was something I wish I had known when I first started.
Yeah. Yeah, especially on that note of never feeling fully prepared. I think one of the things I wish I had known prior to starting to teach is that sometimes it's not best to really over prepare one specific lesson plan and try to make everything perfect. I think it's actually much more advantageous to have a few extra things planned that you think you probably won't have time for, but just to sort of pull out of your back pocket in case one of your activities is, starting to go south and the students aren't really engaging with it. And then sometimes something that you thought might take 25 minutes ends up finishing up in 10 minutes. So I think emphasizing flexibility is key.
You'll be fine. I
Yeah.
mean, the TAs.
I think take it in because as stressful as it gets made out to be, because you're doing a lot, the experience does pass by very quickly. And you'll maybe notice that hopefully as you're giving a lecture, that time also flies by very quickly. And just remember that it's also a learning process for you and you have a lot to gain out of it as well. So just keep that in mind.